Welcome to a conversation that might just change the way you see your life forever. We live in a world obsessed with constant connection, always scrolling, always talking, always chasing the next opinion. But what if I told you that your greatest breakthrough, your deepest strength, your most powerful transformation won't happen in the noise, it will happen in the silence? Today, we're unlocking one of the most underrated secrets of personal growth: the incredible power of being alone. Not loneliness, not isolation, but purposeful solitude, the place where leaders are made, visions are born, and unshakable confidence is built. If you've ever feared being alone, or misunderstood its purpose, stay with me till the end, because what you're about to hear could equip you with a mindset that makes you unstoppable in any area of your life. This isn't just motivation, this is a blueprint for power. Let's dive in a world that constantly pushes us into noise, distractions, and endless conversations. Solitude stands as one of the most powerful and underappreciated forces. When we are alone, free from the opinions, expectations, and judgments of others, our minds finally begin to clear. It's in these quiet spaces that true clarity of thought is born. The clutter of external voices fades, and what remains is the pure, unfiltered sound of our own reasoning. Solitude gives us the space to sort through the complexity of life without interference. It allows us to confront what we believe, to evaluate what we want, and to recognize the patterns we've blindly followed. Great leaders, thinkers, and innovators often credit moments of solitude for their greatest insights. In isolation, distractions lose their grip, and the fog of busyness begins to lift. Alone, we are forced to sit with our own questions, and in doing so, we often discover answers that the noise of the world had hidden. Solitude strips away the performance and brings us face to face with what matters. It is not loneliness, but intentional separation from the external chaos, so we can reconnect with internal wisdom. The clarity that emerges from solitude gives us direction, purpose, and a steady confidence that is not swayed by the currents of other people's opinions. Alone, we hear the voice of our values, the call of our mission, and the truth of who we are. When you embrace being alone, you open the door to one of the most transformative disciplines, self-awareness. In the absence of constant conversation and external stimulation, you are left with your own thoughts, emotions, and reflections. This is where real understanding of self begins to form. Without the pressure to perform for others or adjust to their expectations, you get an unfiltered view of who you are beneath the surface. You begin to see your strengths without the need for validation and your weaknesses without the sting of criticism. Alone, you are not comparing, competing, or conforming. You are observing and learning. Self-awareness allows you to recognize not only what you want, but why you want it. It exposes the driving forces behind your decisions, your fears, and your ambitions. This kind of insight is rare in a world that constantly demands your attention and reaction. It takes the discipline of solitude to develop the inner mirror that reflects your true identity. And with this awareness comes responsibility. The responsibility to confront uncomfortable truths, to correct damaging patterns, and to refine your character. But it also brings incredible freedom. You become less dependent on external approval and more anchored in personal truth. Self-awareness empowers you to lead with authenticity, to build relationships with depth, and to pursue goals that are truly aligned with your purpose. The quiet space of solitude is not empty. It is rich with the opportunity to meet yourself fully. Perhaps for the first time, when you learn to stand alone, you cultivate a strength that does not depend on anyone else for its survival. Independence is not the absence of relationships, but the ability to function from a place of wholeness. It means you are not driven by the fear of being alone, but rather empowered by the ability to stand on your own convictions, values, and beliefs. This kind of inner strength is built in the quiet moments when no one is watching, applauding, or validating your journey. It grows as you make decisions based on principle rather than pressure. It deepens every time you choose integrity over popularity, discipline over comfort, and purpose over distraction. Independent strength allows you to navigate setbacks without falling apart, because your stability is not rooted in the shifting sands of other people's approval. It gives you the confidence to take risks, to pursue visions that others may not yet see, and to endure seasons of waiting without compromise. Being independent does not mean you reject connection. It means you enter relationships as a whole person, not as someone desperate for completion. The world respects those who are self-sustaining, who bring value rather than drain it, who contribute rather than consume. Independence built through solitude creates leaders who are not easily swayed by opinion or circumstance. They carry a steady confidence that draws others to follow, not because of loud charisma, but because of quiet, unshakable strength. This is the kind of power that sustains you through the storms of life and keeps your vision clear even when others lose sight. When you spend time alone, you sharpen your ability to listen not just to others, but to your own inner voice. In a world saturated with noise, opinions, and constant digital chatter, solitude creates a sacred space where clarity can finally emerge. This is where intuition grows stronger and decision-making becomes sharper. Without the external pressure of pleasing others or reacting to every voice around you, you develop the discipline to hear what truly matters. You begin to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, what is noise and what is truth. The clarity that comes from solitude allows you to make decisions that are not reactive but intentional, not emotional but thoughtful. You become more patient, more discerning, and more capable of seeing the bigger picture. Leaders who embrace solitude often make better decisions because they are not easily swayed by temporary emotions or the fleeting opinions of others. They take time to reflect, analyze, and evaluate before acting. This kind of decision-making power creates stability, earns trust, and produces results that stand the test of time. The ability to retreat into solitude gives you a vantage point above the noise, allowing you to see opportunities and risks others may overlook. It is in these quiet moments that creativity flourishes and breakthroughs are born. You are able to envision the future with greater accuracy because you are not clouded by distractions. Solitude is not isolation, it is elevation. It lifts your perspective and strengthens your mind, equipping you to lead, to innovate, and to navigate with confidence. Embracing solitude cultivates emotional stability because it forces you to confront and master your own emotions rather than constantly seeking external validation or escape. When you are alone, you cannot distract yourself with the opinions, affirmations, or approval of others. Instead, you face your fears, your insecurities, and your anxieties head-on. This confrontation is not always comfortable, but it is deeply transformative. You begin to understand your emotional triggers, patterns, and responses with a level of honesty that only solitude can provide. As you sit with your emotions instead of running from them, you learn resilience. You recognize that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. This awareness allows you to respond with wisdom rather than react in haste. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings, but about managing them with maturity and grace. Leaders who develop this internal stability do not crumble under pressure because they have trained their hearts to remain calm even when circumstances are chaotic. They do not depend on the praise of others to feel worthy, nor are they destroyed by criticism or rejection. Instead, they possess a quiet confidence that radiates strength. People are naturally drawn to those who exhibit this kind of emotional consistency because it offers security and inspires trust. In a world where many are ruled by their emotions, the ability to remain steady sets you apart. Emotional mastery becomes a foundation for wise leadership, healthy relationships, and personal peace, making you a stabilizing force in every environment you enter. Alone time fuels innovation and creative thinking because it offers the mental space necessary for new ideas to emerge without noise and influence of others. In a world that constantly demands our attention and fills every moment with distractions, solitude becomes a rare sanctuary where the mind can breathe, wander, and explore uncharted territories of thought. When you are alone, your brain is free to make connections it normally wouldn't, to reflect deeply, and to process information without external pressure. This reflective state allows you to break free from conventional patterns of thinking and access a deeper level of creativity that thrives in stillness. Some of the world's greatest breakthroughs and inventions were birthed in seasons of solitude where individuals wrestled with problems, sought understanding, and allowed their minds to roam freely. Innovation does not often emerge from the constant input of opinions, but from the quiet courage to think differently and challenge existing norms. Solitude provides the environment where bold questions are asked, where failures are dissected without fear of judgment, and where the seeds of original thought are planted and nurtured. Creative thinking in solitude is not limited by the expectations of others. Instead, it is driven by pure curiosity and a desire to contribute something meaningful. Leaders and creators who intentionally carve out time for solitude give themselves a competitive advantage because they tap into a reservoir of originality that many overlook in the busyness of collaborative noise. In those silent moments, vision is sharpened, new strategies are born, and the impossible begins to feel possible. Solitude becomes the workshop where the raw materials of experience, knowledge, and imagination are shaped into powerful innovations that have the potential to transform not only personal lives, but entire industries and communities in the end. Solitude is not your enemy, it is your hidden advantage. It's where clarity is sharpened, resilience is born, and true self-mastery begins. The world may tell you that constant company equals success, but history has proven that those who dare to walk alone for a season return with wisdom, strength, and vision the crowd could never give them. When you choose to embrace the quiet, you give yourself permission to hear your own voice, to face your weaknesses, to cultivate your purpose without distraction. This is the foundation of real power, not power over others, but power over yourself. And in mastering yourself, you become someone the world cannot easily shake. The greatest leaders, creators, and visionaries have all learned this. Being alone is not emptiness, it is preparation. Use it wisely. Thank you for investing your time and attention into this message today. If this spoke to you, if it challenged you, if it opened your eyes to a new way of thinking, I invite you to share it with someone else who needs to hear it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join this growing community of people who are committed to growth, purpose, and living with intention. Your journey matters, your solitude has meaning, and your power is waiting. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and never stop becoming who you were meant to be.